So I figured I'd do a quickie iPad video and share with you a little something. This is a brand new Honda EU3000 IS inverter generator. Nearest I can tell, it's not your standard run-of-the-mill AC generator. It seems like it's probably got a beefy alternator in it and an inverter, so it's clean sine wave to drive your electronics or your appliances. It's a standalone unit that's meant to sit outside somewhere on a campsite, and we're actually going to build it into this camper for this application. So what is the first thing that someone like me would do after spending a couple $1,000s on a generator and taking it out of the box? You take it apart. Of course. Come on now. So this is me taking it apart, and the reason why I did that is to get an idea of where component locations and stuff were, because we're going to be building a box around this. And serviceability needs to be maintained. And Honda did really good about utilizing all the sides of the generator to do various functions. And I don't want to just space the generator too far away from the wall. So that leaves us with figuring out which side gets to go against the wall. And I've already figured that out, but I figured, hey, I'll show you the inside of a generator. And maybe we'll take it apart a little bit further and see if we can get a better idea of how this works. But inside there is a Honda GX200 engine and this really nice quiet muffler system. I haven't ran this yet. This has never been run. I'm sure it's been factory tested, but I took it out of the box and took my screw gun to it. So this is the nice fiberglass cover. This is to keep the heat from melting the outer plastic cover and to direct the heat up and away here. So it's supposed to be really quiet. We'll find out, I guess. You'll get to see that in the video here once I get back and edit the camper footage. I am still in North Carolina, obviously. So this is the inside here, and I'm not going to show the serial number in case Honda decides they want to void my warranty. But the warranty isn't voided yet because all I've done is take covers off. We'll get to that in a later video. So if you are buying one of these and you're curious about it, this will be a bit useful for you. A little bit informative maybe. So this cover is on one side. You turn the screw 90 degrees. See, there's the lock. And you open it up and you have access to your air filter, which is right here. And you can undo this little cover here, which I will do. And see, the screw stays in here, so at least if you're out in the field servicing this, you're not going to lose parts. That comes out, and that gives you access to the spark plug lead. So you can change the spark plug, or if it's flooded, you can pull it out, do whatever else. Now, the disappointing thing about this, it's not really that big of a disappointment. I mean, really, you should be vigilant about maintaining your generator and verifying its functionality before you take it out in the field and use it somewhere. But you actually have to take this cover off to get to the battery for the electric start. So this is the small lead-acid battery for the electric start. There's 4 6mm acorn nuts that you undo here. Remember, it's metricated. And you can take this cover off, and then you can charge the battery or replace the battery or do what you need. If it doesn't start, there's a fuse right here that you can check, 5-amp fuse. Remember to not replace it with a bigger fuse. And this is brand new from the factory, so I haven't even hooked up the battery yet. The battery does come unhooked. The screws and nuts and all that good stuff is wedged in here still in its little plastic bag. And then you got your choke, off, on, start, outputs, output indicator light, overload, oil alert. This is your breaker for DC. So you plug in here and you can, charge a car battery, and we're actually going to be using this. Here's your outputs. You get a 20 amp kind of standard 3-prong outlet, and then you get a 30 amp twist lock, which can output 23.3 amps in this case, which is pretty damn good. So, and you get a 30 amp circuit breaker for the twist lock. You get a 20 amp circuit breaker for these guys. It's 3,000 watts, so obviously you're not going to be able to do 40 amps with it. So it's kind of a one or the other, or depending on how you load it. I'm glad they included the twist lock feature, so if it vibrates around and everything else, your plug doesn't fall out, and you can string a cord, or you can mount this thing, or whatever else. And so that's the front side here. Oh, you got your fuel valve and whatnot. And some other things that are serviceable on the side door that I just remembered and forgot to mention is there's a drain in here. Oh, can't see anything. Hey. This right here is a drain for your carb bowl. So if you don't run it out of gas, when you go to store it or whatever, you should drain your carb bowl. Make sure your fuel valve is off, and then you can top it up with fresh fuel. Make sure you put fuel stabilizer in it. Never ever store a generator, a weed whacker, a lawnmower, I don't care what it is. If it's powered on petrol, never store it without putting fuel stabilizer in it. If you're going to let it sit for a month, it's fine. But if you're going to let it sit an entire winter, you're going to screw something up. Just saying. The covers are fairly easily removable. The little foam gasket here wanted to come out when I pulled this off. Not too big of a deal, because at least there's a channel to sit in, which means that they didn't use adhesive on it. I imagine when this gets old and crusty, that's going to kind of suck. But hey, whatever. I imagine it's going to last a long time. It is a Honda. Now on this side, this is the side that obviously I've chosen to go up against the back of the camper, is the pull start. And that's it. There's just a pull start on this side, which obviously we're not going to be using because it has electric start. And actually, in this case, what I'm going to do is negate using this battery altogether, and we're going to use the house battery to start the generator. And I guess I could leave that in there, in case of an emergency. You can hook up that battery or whatever. But you have to remember that if you do something like that, that the charging circuit for this battery is only meant to put out like 9 amps. Like the generator is going to put out power to charge this battery. No, you cannot use that same charging circuit to charge a larger battery. A larger battery is going to try and pull a lot more than 0.9 amps. So what I'm going to do is take a 50 amp diode, and I'm going to put it here in this circuit so the generator can draw power from the house battery to run the generator electronics and start the generator, but the generator will not be able to put power back into the house battery from this starting circuit. Instead, there is a separate outlet here, like I had mentioned earlier, 12 volts to 12 amps. That's going to charge the house battery. So, yeah, that's how that's going to work. Thinking about taking this top cover off so you can see the side of it. Oh, that's not going to work out very well because the starter pull's right there. All right, well, this is my quickie short review of the Honda EU3000 IS. You will see this in full detail with the camper video. I will actually probably end up pulling the covers off. You'll get to see it run. We'll get an idea of how quiet it is, and we'll actually load it and stuff. I got a 11,000 BTU heat pump sitting in there, so that'll be cool. Yeah, check it out. No air conditioner sticking out of the side. No air conditioner sticking out of the roof. That's going to be a compartment, and since the AC unit pulls air in out the sides and kicks it out this, we can put some louvers in here, and we can put some louvers in this compartment area, and so it can still get the air it needs and, you know, do the whole heat exchange process, and it doesn't stick out like a boner in gym shorts. Good stuff. So stay tuned, more to come.